तो कल हमने जो इन्वेस्टिगेशन किया वो बाहर बाहर का जो सूत्र थे, उनमें जो घटनाएं हो रही थी उसको समझने का, और उसके साथ साथ प्रतीच्य समुत्पाद को किस तरह इन बेसिक्स को इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं समझने में, वो काम किया था। तो आज हम पहले शांत से बैठेंगे, चित्त को शांत करके, एंड देन वी कैन इन्वेस्टिगेट सम इवेंट इन आवर ओन लाइफ जो जिसमें हमने प्रतिक्रिया कर दी हो। खास तौर पे ऐसा कोई इवेंट जो हाल फिलहाल में हुआ हो, या कोई ऐसा जो बार बार हो रहा हो। यू कैन जस्ट टेक इट अप क्वाइटली आफ्टर अवर माइंड इज काम डाउन। जब मन शांत हो जाए तो उसको याद करके वी कैन सी कि कैसी प्रतिक्रिया हुई, उसके पीछे क्या कारण था, एंड गो अप टू द रूट टू वट एवर एक्सटेंट वी कैन टू लोकेट द होल प्रोसेस ऑफ क्रिएशन ऑफ से रिएक्शन, एंड देन वी कैन इन्वेस्टिगेट कि रिएक्शन नहीं होने के लिए मुझे क्या करना चाहिए। तो इस प्रकार से भी हम अपने जीवन की घटनाओं से इन्वेस्टिगेशन करके वी कैन आइडेंटिफाई कि कहाँ पे हम में साधना में कमी है, कहाँ पे हम उसको, किस एलिमेंट को साधना के हमको स्ट्रॉन्ग करना चाहिए। इट कुड बी द एबिलिटी टू सी, इट कुड बी परसेप्शन, इट कुड बी द calm ability to hold on a reaction, और being खांति का कमी हो सकती है, चित्त की ट्रैंक्विलिटी में कमी हो सकती है, प्रज्ञा में कमी हो सकती है। तो वी कैन देन, पहले तो हम अपनी जो परिस्थिति घटी उसको एनालाइज करके देख लें कहाँ कहाँ पे क्या हुआ, और फिर हम उसको एक धम्मिक लाइट में देखेंगे कहाँ पे कमी है जिसके ऊपर काम किया जा सकता है। सो दिस वे वी डिस्कवर कि भाई हाँ, हमें इस तरह की साधना करनी चाहिए जिससे कि हमें और अधिक लाभ हो और हमारा चित्त मुक्ति की और आगे बढ़ सके। सो विल डू इट साइलेंटली, एंड वी कैन डू इट टिल 6:30 और 6, कैन डू इट टिल 6:40, और फिर उसके बाद 20 मिनट होंगे। अगर कोई किसी को पूछना हो तो पूछ सकते हैं, नहीं तो वी कैन डू सम चैंटिंग्स। ओके, so we'll silently sit and first calm down the mind, and then do some actual our life incident investigation and find out what exactly is the utility of this kind of analysis। इस तरह से डिपेंडेंट ओरिजिनेशन से क्या मालूम पड़ पाता है, और कहाँ पे किस तरह से हम अपने चित्त को सुधारने के लिए आइडेंटिफाई कर सकते हैं कि कहाँ पे हमारे को काम करने की आवश्यकता है। ओके, थैंक यू।
सर, आप कोई प्रति प्रश्न करना चाहेंगे? अच्छा, सुनील जी ने हाथ उठाया। हाँ, सुनील जी।
हाँ, गुड मॉर्निंग सर। सर, जो आज आपने एक्सरसाइज दी थी उसी के कॉन्टेक्स्ट में प्रश्न है। नाउ देयर इज अ सिचुएशन दैट there is a toxic person at your place of work in a parallel position, and he says hurtful things to most of the people. So his behavior, let's say, towards me is not special. I mean, that's the way he is. And over a period of time, so many interactions have happened. So अगर पीएस के कनेक्शन में जब मैं सिचुएशन को एनालाइज कर रहा था, तो आई फाउंड दैट मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम आई एम एबल टू कंट्रोल माय रिएक्शन, maybe because of the knowledge or the meditation that I do. But sometimes I do react, because you can't give a free run to the other person also. Now, when he says hurtful things, so मेरे कानों पे एक अप्रिय वेदना हुई। मैंने आउटवर्डली तो लेट्स से सिचुएशन, एक पर्टिकुलर जो सिचुएशन की बात कर रहा हूँ मैं, आउटवर्डली तो मैंने रिएक्ट नहीं किया, बट ये जो इंटरेक्शन हुआ था, इसकी जो अनप्लेजेंट फीलिंग थी, वो लेटर ऑन भी, यू नो, during my meditation or otherwise, it keeps returning, that unpleasant feeling. So so उसको मैं फर्दर जब डीपली एनालाइज कर रहा था, तो आई फाउंड दैट द outward reaction might not have been there, but somewhere there is an internal reaction which probably is causing this feeling to return again and again. And कहीं ना कहीं पे जो नोशन ऑफ आई है वो भी स्ट्रांग है. So am I analyzing this situation correctly, या इसमें how would you interpret it? And ये जो unpleasant feeling है, जो time and again keeps returning, of an incident which has happened in the past, how would one how can one come over it? One is, yes, of course, whenever it comes, you keep on observing it, but overall जो है, I mean, is there any deeper thing? I mean, what would be your guidance in this type of situation?
When we talk of reaction to feelings, reaction is a mental phenomenon, na? And then that mental phenomena, if it is very intense, then it results in some speech, or it can result in action depending on intensity of the reaction and the surrounding situations. Suppose I have some in the office and there is a boss, and I know that if I will shout at him, it will have serious implications. So then I withhold my speech. But internally in the mind, reactivity तो हो ही रही है ना, तो anger arise हो रहा है, and that only adds to the tendency of reactivity. So that's, जिस तरह आप कह रहे हैं, it's quite clear that is what is happening. Now, the handling of that situation would have to be analyzed in various ways. What is the extent of what do we call as toxic environment? What is the person is saying something, whether he's saying something which is true or not. There are multiple things which have to be seen in proper investigation of the situation. जहाँ तक उससे अनप्लेजेंट वर्ड्स की बात है, वहाँ पे तो ये क्लियर है कि इतना हो रहा है, बट वो अनप्लेजेंट वर्ड्स क्यों आ रहे हैं, क्यों ऐसा हो रहा है, there must be some reason on his part, there must be some trigger on my part. So then all that has to be deeply investigated. So solution to that lies in as detailed investigation of the, तभी कहा जाता है ना, बाहर भी देखें अंदर भी देखें. Always Buddha talks of ajatta bahida, everything. All practices of satipatthana are supposed to be done both internally and externally. So we look inside ourselves and also look at the external situation from a Dhammic perspective, and then figure out what is the solution for that, or whether there is a solution or not. It's not necessary that solution will always be found. So in the net, all the best we can do is to prevent our reactivity. And for that purpose, we need to prepare our mind strongly, have reasonable level of samadhi and tranquility, and then a great level of panya to see how do we handle unpleasantness, unpleasant words. Basically, तो वही बात है ना. But there may be other associated actions and associated implications of that. So there, because in a office environment, there is an issue about job, there is an issue about livelihood. So it's a complex thing when you have to analyze that. So one has to really see all the dimensions of the problem, and then only some solution can be found, in the sense of not at least not getting hurt in the process. That's all I can say. Without knowing the details, that's all I can say.
No, I understand. But I mean, these type of situations are really complex.
Yeah, there
And,
are.
and so many factors at play.
Yeah, so one has to look at all of them, how intense they are, and firstly see the situation as a result of my karma, so that my reactivity comes down from that perspective, from the mundane panya perspective, and then see whether we can negotiate it in such a manner that I am hurt the least. That's the point. Which means if I mentally react to every situation, तो अंदर से तो बेचैनी होती है ना, and that will keep on increasing. वो हमारी द्वेष का संस्कार बढ़ता ही चला जाएगा. So we need to really look at it in a manner how we can handle unpleasant speech or unpleasant actions of others without ourselves getting hurt in the process. There are various methods suggested by the Buddha for small, short term, for long term. So we need to really look at that.
So short-term method would be like recalling principle of karma and other good things that
That
this
is,
person may have done to you, or is there something more to it?
yeah. The first thing is to recall that any unpleasant situation, it is a situation created by circumstances, by that any unpleasant situation of that kind, there must be some role of my karma in that. And now when you see that, then the tendency to put all the blame outside reduces. Then we become less I mean, there's a possibility of ability to absorb the unpleasantness increases. So khanti वाली बात है ना, वो बहुत महत्वपूर्ण है. Developing khanti, developing forbearance,
Khanti
ability
means,
to handle
sir?
unpleasant situations. जी,
खंती का क्या मतलब हुआ सर?
forbearance, yeah, ability to handle the unpleasant situations in the life. भगवान की टीचिंग आती है ना, खंती परमम तपो तितिक्षा, कि हमको धैर्य रखना चाहिए, पेशेंस रखनी चाहिए, और जो अनप्लेजेंट सिचुएशंस है उसको सहन करना चाहिए विद प्रॉपर अंडरस्टैंडिंग. दैट इज द बिगेस्ट ऑस्टेरिटी, दैट इज द बिगेस्ट तप. तो वो खंती हमारे जीवन में जो फैक्टर्स वर्थ डेवलपिंग है, उनमें खंती इज वन ऑफ द टॉप मोस्ट. सती एंड खंती एंड पन्या, दे आर ऑल extremely important in our day-to-day life. Because unpleasantness is going to happen. Can happen due to external thing. It can happen due to internal in the family. It can happen due to my own hand.
Yeah, that's true.
So much. So ability to handle unpleasantness without reactivity is a very big challenge for all people who follow the path of Dhamma. And it is generally recognized that it is the जो तप की बात कही जाती है कि हमको तप करना है, आता पी संपजाना, उसमें खंती का डेवलप करना इज वन ऑफ द मोस्ट important and difficult practices. Because when we can absorb unpleasant situation and not react, then we can respond.
Right.
When the panya is available, we can respond. हाँ भाई, अब इस सिचुएशन को बार बार हो रही है, कैसे किया जाए? Can I handle it? Is it my within thing, or do I need to change myself from that situation to another situation? All that becomes possible when we don't get sucked into that toxic environment. क्योंकि तभी हम उसको objectively देख पाएंगे. But there are so many constraints, constraints of livelihood, constraints of family, constraints of my own abilities to handle unpleasantness. So one has to have a proper kind of SWOT analysis of the situation.
But particularly, sir, when the unpleasant words and very, let's say, spiteful words are hitting your ears, I mean, should one be focusing on the sensations,
The
in the body?
key thing to be observed is these are unpleasant words, and I don't like it. There's a feeling of unpleasantness. If we can observe that feeling of unpleasantness, then reaction will not happen. Usually, it is not easy to do that. It needs lot of practice. And what happens is that though we know it is unpleasant word, we also react. And when we react,
Yeah.
then body gets really influenced. So if it is reaction is happening, anger is arising, then we should certainly observe the body and bring the equilibrium as quickly as possible.
Yeah, particularly like the anger is rising at that point of time. So then observing the body at that point of time would be helpful. Yeah.
Yeah, it is very helpful.
Yeah.
Ideally, we should be able to develop so much of sati that we know, oh, this is unpleasant words, and then don't allow the reactivity to happen. It's quite tough, of course. So that needs practice.
Right.
Sati, panya, everything is integrated in only then we'll be able to really hold our reaction. Otherwise तो reaction हो ही जाएगा. अगर हमारी समझ है कि ये सिर्फ unpleasant words हैं, unpleasant vedana, dukhad vedana is arising, and I just observe it without reactivity, And then we are really practicing the path very absolutely properly. But reaction हो भी जाता है, तो भी also be aware of the reaction. Oh, I have reacted with anger. There is anger in my mind. Sati Pathan में ऐसे सिखाया जाता है. You observe there is anger in my mind. What is it doing to my body? Observe the body. And then keep that observation continuous so that it eventually subsides. अनित्य है, वो बदल जाएगा. And then we can reflect and see कि क्या हुआ, क्यों एंगर जागता है बार बार, क्या मेरी अपनी ईगो हर्ट होती है, मेरी सेंस ऑफ सेल्फ होती है, वट एवर इज द इन्वेस्टिगेशन. कोई ना कोई तृष्णा तो होगी ना, गुस्सा जाग रहा है तो कोई ना कोई तृष्णा तो होगी.
True.
So we can figure it out like that, which is also same kind of analysis of the process in the light of this independent origination. We are not able to hold on to reaction, but we at least become aware of the anger. वहां पे भी अगर हम रुक जाएंगे तो एटलीस्ट उपादान तक नहीं पहुंचेगा. But
right, sir.
We can hold on to that anger, then slowly and slowly that will also come down, and then we can, with a calm and quiet mind, we can then investigate कि क्या हुआ, कहाँ पे मेरा contribution रहा, इसमें कहाँ पे बाहर का contribution रहा, and then we can do a proper analysis of the situation.
Right, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Sir, follow-up question on Sunilji's case, sir. You said Bhaidhava also you looked into. We need to look into that. Ajatava, okay, I can look into myself. Here, what is the Bhaidhava, external Dhamma in the meaning?
The person who is speaking. The person who is speaking, why is he doing that? Look at his face, look at his body language and figure out, is he angry? If he's, you can figure out what is his mental state. To some extent, we can figure out. Yesterday, we were doing the analysis based on what is written in the book. We did that analysis that he must be thinking like that, he must be thinking like that. Same thing can be done in real time when you are interacting with somebody and he's behaving atrociously, we can look at it. And if you find that he's having maybe he has the person who is talking hurtful to me, he has had a very bad day. He had some problem of his own and he's taking it out on me. That can also happen. And so we just look at the person and see whether how much angry he's getting, what is his state of body language. From that you can get some idea what he must be feeling when he's shouting. And then that helps us to temper our response. If, for example, I know somebody's family situation is very bad and he's passing through a difficult time and he's shouting now at me.
Reacting, yeah.
I can visualize that maybe something has gone wrong.
Uh-huh.
If somebody comes early in the morning in the office and starts shouting at his colleagues, obviously something has gone wrong somewhere else. Or maybe his boss has told him something and he's passing on to that. So when we look at it in a holistic manner like that, the reactivity comes down. Then we can become, because Buddha says, when there is resentment against somebody, you can in fact handle it in various ways. Practice metta, practice karuna. How would you practice karuna? By seeing that this person is really suffering. See how he's shouting unnecessarily at me. Now, that needs great withdrawal from my own sense of self, isn't it?
Yeah.
Then one can look at the other person. Yeah, he's in difficulty. Let me not react. Let me not add to the difficulty by saying him something. Okay, fine. When he's in calm mood, then I'll talk to him and tell him, why did you say that? But that needs a lot of practice. If I
Yes.
don't react, if I have that metta or karuna, then I can work in that manner. That's why the practice of Brahma Viharas is so much encouraged. If that becomes our default mode of state of mind, then we are protected quite a lot.
This Sunil ji, what case is typical happens in the organization, sir? One or other person kind of things we all will go through it actually.
Yeah. That's true. It always happens.
Mm.
Any organization, and you'll always find, if in your department there are 10 people, and somebody or the other will be nasty. In my department in IIT, we had 40 faculty members, 50 lab staff and others, so 100 people. Then out of 100, even if 5% get nasty, that's quite a large number. So we have to understand that, yeah. So if we are in good contact with people and we know their background, what is happening in their life, what is going on, then we know, yeah, this is what is most likely happening. Then we can develop compassion, we can develop kindness, we can develop metta. If we know our people well, that takes time, of course. So these days, people don't stay in the organizations long enough to know each other. So that's another issue. So when I stay in an organization for a long time, I know each and every person. Then the relationship becomes different. If you have developed a goodwill with everybody, with the majority of the people, some people you can't kind of change them. But generally, people are. If you behave with them respectfully and properly, generally people tend to be
Open
not
up.
nasty at least. Then slowly one can develop a understanding of develop a relationship with everybody in my small organization or in my department in the big organization, so that life can be negotiated and these events can be reduced. And they do reduce, of course. But sudden you are in your department, your management, the institute is too big, thousands of people. So then something may come from outside to trouble you. So we can't isolate ourselves from the surroundings. We can do whatever is within our limited zone of influence. That always happens.
Thank you, sir.
Good.
1 hour we can meditate.
We can meditate on the same. जैसे सुबह किया था ना, जैसे हमने सुबह किया था कि थोड़ी देर शांत कर लेते हैं मन को, और उसके बाद we can reflect on any event in our life, any incident in our life in which we reacted, and then analyze it in the light of dependent origination and see what was the trigger, how did the process chain of activities begin, and what could we have done to produce a more wise response. So we can then figure it out by that process. तो पहले थोड़ा 15-20 मिनट 25 मिनट जितना भी जरूरत हो मन को शांत कर ले, और फिर कोई इवेंट को याद करके we can investigate it. कैसे सुबह किया था मैसेज, we can investigate it and then see how we can understand dependent origination in real time and better with respect to us. Okay.
जी सर, जा सकते हैं अगर आप लोगों के मन में कोई आए हो। हाँ भावना जी, आप पूछ लीजिए।
सर थोड़ा ऑफ ट्रैक क्वेश्चन है। तो हम जैसे कहते हैं जो अनंत हो जाते हैं उनका अगला जन्म नहीं होता है, मतलब कॉन्शियसनेस नहीं आती है और फिर नया मतलब बॉडी बॉडी कुछ नहीं होता, तो फिर से बचता क्या है? सब कुछ एक्सटिंक्ट हो जाता है क्या? जैसे भगवान बोलते हैं तो उनमें क्या बचा फिर?
जो इसको हम एग्जिस्टेंस कह रहे हैं, तो जस्ट ए फिनोमेना विच इज हैपनिंग ड्यू टू arising of sankhara, and sankhara gives rise to new birth, new consciousness. जो संस्कार समाप्त हो जाएंगे तो फिर उनका उसमें कोई मोमेंटम ही नहीं है आगे बढ़ने का. So there will be no more new consciousness which will seek another body for arising or manifestation. बेसिकली संखार समाप्त हो गए जो कि ड्राइविंग फोर्स है एग्जिस्टेंस के हमारे. So the repeated cycle of birth and death ends. There is no being here. ना कोई आदमी, कोई ऐसी चीज नहीं है ना जो कि वो दिखता है कि मैं हूँ, एक शरीर है तो कोई तो है, कोई तो होगा. वही तो सारी डिपेंडेंट ओरिजिनेशन का मुख्य उद्देश्य तो यही है ना कि जो फिनोमेना है बर्थ का, इट इज ऑल्सो कंडीशनड बाय इवेंचुअली बाय ignorance, and ignorance gives rise to sankhara. So if all ignorance is finished, no more sankharas, no more birth. So the new body does not arise. That's the end of the story.
तो मेरा क्वेश्चन है कि वो समझ आ गया कि कॉन्शियसनेस नहीं बची, बॉडी नहीं बचा, तो फिर क्या बचता है? जैसे अभी हम भगवान बुद्ध का बोले तो व्हाट इज रिमेनिंग? सब
Nothing.
कुछ
Nothing. Nothing. Nothing is remaining.
तो ना भगवान बुद्ध इज नोवेयर, कहीं नहीं है वो.
Yeah, that's how the Buddha refused to answer that question of Tathagata, what happens after death. Says it just the manifestation ends. जैसे वो पूछा है भाई, तथागत मृत्यु के बाद होंगे नहीं होंगे, होंगे या नहीं होंगे, दोनों ही, या नहीं होंगे नहीं होंगे, तो सारे पॉसिबिलिटीज लगा दी. उन्होंने कहा द क्वेश्चन डज नॉट एग्जिस्ट बिकॉज तथागता इवन व्हेन ही इज अलाइव is not there in a as a entity, it is there as a process. तो एक प्रोसेस खत्म हो गई तो मैनिफेस्टेशन खत्म हो गया.
ठीक है सर, थैंक यू.
उसके लिए उदाहरण वो देते हैं ना, जैसे कि किसी वो जो क्या था, बच्चों को होता था शायद, इंसिस्टेड ऑन आंसरिंग, तो एक एग्जाम्पल कि एक कैंडल है वो जल रही है और वो कैंडल बुझ गई, तो पूछते हैं कि फ्लेम कहाँ गई. कैंडल का जब सारी मेल्ट हो गई तो, या आग जली हुई है, लकड़ियों से आग जली हुई है, फ्लेम उड़ रही है, एंड व्हेन द फ्यूल एंड्स द फ्लेम डाइज. सो यू कांट से वेयर इज द फ्लेम गॉन, ये लेफ्ट गई, राइट गई, कहाँ गई, बिकॉज इट इज a conditioned phenomena, and the conditions are supporting that flame are no longer there, the flame does not arise. So that's how the arising of body is seen. The body is seen as a manifestation of sankharas. इसीलिए भगवान कहते हैं ना, The whole this body, your body is neither yours nor not yours. It is actually belongs to Kamma or the Sankharas. The body is your Kamma, basically. So when Kamma is ended, no more body. So even there is another sutta in which he says, even when I am alive, can you find out where is Tathagata? It's a name. It is just a designation for certain mentality, materiality interacting with consciousness. That's all. So when there is no further arising of consciousness, materiality is gone, no mentality. So the manifestation of Tathagata is no longer there. That's how he explains the process of passing away of body of Tathagata. Same applies to every Arhant.
Okay, sir.
Not very convincing.
नहीं सर, बस लग रहा था कि मतलब भगवान खुद कहीं तो होंगे ना, मतलब फिर लग रहा है जब कॉन्शियसनेस खत्म होगी तो कुछ भी नहीं बचा, नो मोर देयर.
This is the answer. So whether Tathagata exists or not, this is the question does not arise actually. Because we are presuming that Tathagata is a thing or it's a being. It's not a being. That's so difficult to appreciate. यही तो बार बार जो डिपेंडेंट ओरिजिनेशन हम पढ़ रहे हैं उसका उद्देश्य यही तो है, हम समझें कि it does not arise. Phenomena does not arise because conditions are no longer there.
सर आई वाज थिंकिंग कि जैसे उन्होंने वो वाव दिया ना कि मैं बुद्ध बनूंगा, और फिर बाकी के वो स्टेजेस ही डिड नॉट कम अक्रॉस, अरहंत नहीं हुए, वो डायरेक्टली बुद्धि हुए. तो व्हाट डिड ही अचीव आफ्टर दैट? सब कुछ तो फिर एक्सटिंक्ट ही हो गया. अरहंत भी बनते थे एक्सटिंक्ट होते, बुद्ध भी बनते थे एक्सटिंक्ट होते हैं. तो व्हाई डिड ही गो थ्रू सच अ लॉन्ग प्रोसेस?
हम लोग यहाँ बैठ के डिस्कस कर रहे हैं, 2500 साल से सब लोग साधना कर रहे हैं, करोड़ों लोग फायदा हो गया, दैट इज इट. और अभी पता नहीं कितने करोड़ों का होगा. मार्ग बना के छोड़ गए, शिक्षा छोड़ गए, तो इससे बड़ा क्या कंट्रीब्यूशन होगा? Millions of people are benefiting and will continue to benefit.
So I think we can say that he exists in the form of the
Dhamma.
Dhamma that is left behind.
You can put it that way.
I mean, of course, it's just a symbolic way of saying it. He doesn't really exist, but his teachings exist, and they are there to guide so many people.
Actually, there is a statement of that kind also. आपको याद होगा.
जी.
One who sees the Dhamma sees the Buddha.
जी.
And there's that story ना, एक उनका जो भिक्षु था उनके साथ साथ ही चलता रहता था.
जी.
क्यों चलती हो मेरे साथ साथ? I like you very much. मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगता है आपको देखना. क्योंकि तो मुझे देखता रहेगा, but you are not seeing the Buddha then. You are only seeing the body of the Buddha. So this is a very good way of understanding it. Buddha resides in the Dhamma. His teaching is available in that form. When we read the teachings, we can feel that somebody is teaching us something. His presence can be felt if we are sensitive to the teaching. And that's a very good way of understanding.
Similarly, we also say when a person is gone, that whatever good he has done in the world is what remains of him in this world. That's a very, very local version of this, I guess.
It's very good, of course. सभी के पास, सभी महापुरुषों के बारे में यही कहा जाता. Whatever good he has done, that remains, and person like Buddha has done enormous good, which will benefit for eons.
एक बार पूछे जांच रहे रहे क्या
Hmm?
क्या रहे क्या एक्सपेक्टेशन क्या थी रहे क्या
Is he in some realm? Probably that is the expectation.
अच्छा मतलब एक और बात जैसे मोक्ष भी निब्बान भी ऑलमोस्ट लो ये कॉन्सेप्ट जो होता है कॉन्शियसनेस में मिल जाते हैं एंड बिकम
That is the
ये रॉन्ग मगर ये कहाँ से ओरिजिनेट हुआ कहीं तो कुछ ऐसा हुआ होगा कि
वही तो ब्रह्मजाल सूत्र में यही तो कहानी पढ़ाई जा रही थी. It originated from the seeing the past lives and seeing that मैं पिछले जन्म में भी था, उससे पिछले जन्म में भी था, तो हजारों जन्मों में था, तो मैं तो रहूंगा ही, तो इसका तो आगे भी रहूंगा.
नहीं ये तो वर्क कर रहे था I will merge with the big consciousness and I minor consciousness. I will eventually
इटर्नलिज्म का वही परसेप्शन है ना, बॉडी तो नहीं रहती, आत्मा. हाँ, तो आत्मा को तो कॉन्शियसनेस कहते हैं ना. आत्मा itself is आत्मा is consciousness ना. In Advaita, what we call as Atman is actually same as the Brahman, which is the universal consciousness.
मगर एक तो ये भी है कि एक बड़ा consciousness है. We all eventually merge with that.
That is the Vishisht Advaita. It's not anything.
That is
Vishisht Advaita.
तो एक तो नाम कैसे ओरिजिनेट हुई
डिस्कस किया था, पार्शियल इटर्नलिज्म की बात कही थी. पार्शियल इटर्नलिज्म वो जो उसमें देखा एक ब्रह्मा था, मैं उनका बेटा था, तो ब्रह्मा तो वही है, मैं चला गया, फिर मैं दोबारा मिल जाऊंगा दोबारा से.
तो ब्रह्म भगवान को कॉन्शियसनेस में उससे देखा.
हाँ, दीपक जी बोलिए.
हिंदू धर्म में हम लोग देवी देवताओं को पूछ रहे हैं. अब ये तो एस्टेब्लिश हो गया कि देवी देवता किसी ना किसी realm में एग्जिस्ट करते हैं. जब हम बुद्ध को या अरहंतों को पूछते हैं तो फिर किसको पूछते हैं?
धम्म को.
धम्म को.
It is a method of giving, making ourselves humble and expressing gratitude.
Okay.
हम अपने माता पिता के प्रति कृतज्ञता व्यक्त करते हैं ना,
हाँ हाँ.
जबकि वो नहीं है. तो सही वैसी बात, किसी ने हमारा बहुत भला किया है तो वी रिमेम्बर इट टिल सच
नहीं
टाइम
नहीं,
एज वी आर देयर.
नहीं वो बात बहुत अच्छी बात है, लेकिन वो किसी न किसी फॉर्म में तो एग्जिस्ट करते हैं ना यूनिवर्स में. ये तो जैसे अभी बात हुई कि वो पूरा ही मोमेंटम खत्म हो गया और लिबरेट हो गए.
वी नॉट अंडरस्टैंडिंग द कॉन्सेप्ट, दैट इज द प्रॉब्लम.
हाँ, दैट्स द प्रॉब्लम. यस.
Manifestation as a being, whether in this realm or any other realm, is impermanent. It will end. Even the great Brahma will also pass away.
जी.
So there is no place where the being is existing, an arhant exists after passing away. दिक्कत ये हो सकती है कि अगर अरहंत, अगर कोई अनागामी अकंठक जो टॉप लेवल है उसमें जाता है, वहाँ के लाइफ स्पैन इतना ज्यादा है that one can access the people for long time.
जी जी, तो ठीक है, वो तो
That
ठीक
makes
है.
confusion. Otherwise, there is no theoretically, and as per the teaching, there is no place where you can find a Tathagata. It doesn't exist in any form as such. As was rightly said, you can say he exists in the form of Dhamma. That's what he paid respects to. जब वो भगवान enlightened हुए थे, then he paid respects to Dhamma. Because that law is eternal. That doesn't change.
जी जी, that of course is there. Yes, that's there. It's only a method of paying gratitude when we remember, when we do worship.
And to remember good qualities, right? Basically, it is remember the qualities so that we can also work towards it. We can get inspired by them.
We also imbibe at least those qualities to some extent.
उस डायरेक्शन में हम काम करें ना, देखिए.
Okay, thank you.
हाँ, दीपक त्यागी जी बताइए.
जी सर मेरा ये था सर कि जब आल फिनोमिना जो हम बोलते हैं कि इम्परमानेंट है, तो सर विज्ञान जो है, फिर कॉन्शियसनेस जो है, वो एक लाइफ से दूसरे लाइफ तक तो चल रही है, तो वो तो इम्परमानेंस होती तो वो कंसिस्टेंटली
वो
ट्रांसफॉर्म कैसे हो पा रही है?
एक ही चीज तो नहीं है ना, वो कॉन्शियसनेस को आप फिर एक चीज समझ रहे हैं।
अच्छा।
इज ए प्रोसेस, अराइजिंग पासिंग अवे, अराइजिंग पासिंग अवे, एवरी मोमेंट एंड एवरी मोमेंट चेंजिंग।
दैट
एवरी मोमेंट हम देख रहे हैं हमारे जीवन में बचपन से लेकर आज तक कितने हमारे संस्कार बदल गए, कितने ऐड हो गए, कितने घट गए। कॉन्स्टेंटली इट इज हैपनिंग, but it is actually like a stream, no? It's like a stream which is arising, constantly arising, passing away, and a time comes when the stream has no more momentum, it's finished. So the stream is being a sentient stream, has a उसमें क्योंकि एक चेतना है, तो वो finds a body where it will rest. वो भी जो सोमवार या मंगलवार को जो भावना जी हमें सब आगे पढ़ाएंगी तो सब क्लियर हो जाएगा उसको।
राइट।
जब वो पढ़ाएंगी ना विज्ञान पच्चय नाम रूप पच्चय विज्ञान, तो उससे वहां पे भगवान की जो टीचिंग उसमें बिल्कुल क्लियरली एक्सप्लेन किया गया है किस तरह से नया बर्थ होता है।
राइट, थैंक यू सर।
यस भावना।
सर सर जो हमारे हिंदू ट्रेडिशन में होता है ना, जैसे भगवान विष्णु, भगवान गणेश, ऐसे बहुत सारे भगवान होते हैं, तो वो ये है कि हायर रेल्म्स में एग्जिस्ट करते हैं, बट फिर वो भी मर जाते होंगे और फिर नाउ दे आर नो मोर देयर। जब जैसे मान लीजिए जिनको हम भगवान विष्णु बोलते हैं, हो सकता है वो अभी हो ही नहीं कहीं।
Yeah, that is a different conception, na? According to, we should say, according to Buddha's teachings, there is no being who is eternal. तो eternal जैसे मैंने बताया था कि it is basically because the time span is so large compared to human existence, कि वो eternal जैसा ही लगता है। But according to the Buddha's teaching, every deva will also eventually pass away. And depending on his karma, he will be reborn till such time as he or she becomes and gets liberated from all sankharas.
तो सुत्त में जो सर देव लोग का वर्णन आता है, मतलब दे आर द पीपल हु आर इन हायर रेल्म्स compared to us,
Yes.
and there's a special part, but ऐसा we cannot assign name, मतलब they are the beings,
That they are?
that they are some consciousness or maybe material body, and that they will be changing,
Yeah, they are just like us.
सब transition होते रहेगा।
They're just like us with purer minds. Brahmas are just like us with subtler bodies and purer minds. That's it. That's the only difference. So they जैसे इस realm में पैदा होते हैं उसकी condition है, उसी तरह उस realm में पैदा होने की कुछ condition। That's all. But the realms are not permanent. They are passing. We all get, in fact, at the end of the eon, other than the topmost, they all get destroyed.
ब्रह्मा भी वो बने थे ना एक बार, हीरा ब्रह्मा फॉर्म बने थे ना, ब्रह्मा
One of the Mahabrahmas. Yeah.
अच्छा,
So they get reborn in different realms. Depending on karma, they get reborn.
सर मेरे मन में ना एक थॉट आ रहा था कि
हाँ,
मेरे को सैड फील हो रहा है कि भगवान बुद्ध कहीं नहीं है।
नहीं है ना, अभी बताया ना। ही इज अवेलेबल इन द फॉर्म ऑफ टीचिंग। हम बैठ के डिस्कस कर रहे हैं तो हमारे मन में तो है ना।
समवेयर एंड
We have
व्हेन
a,
आई
we have,
रिमेम्बर ही कहीं तो कनेक्ट हो जाता होगा शायद।
yeah, you connected through teachings, of course. You can connect through teachings. If it is a matter of changing the view that we connect with material entities only, we actually have a much greater connection with ideas, with thoughts. आप देखो, विचार करके देखो, thoughts and teachings have a much stronger impact on us than people. So we all are.
बुद्धत्व प्राप्ति से पहले बुद्ध भी महाब्रह्मा भी रह चुके हैं, बन इंद्र भी रह चुके हैं, तो वो भी सभी प्लेन्स में रह चुके हैं। तो बुद्धत्व तो सबसे लास्ट की स्टेज है।
It's basically because I can understand, because basically we understand only a being with material body. We can't understand a being without a body or without a subtle body, or that there is no being, because the whole idea of anatta is that there is no fixed being. That is the whole teaching, which makes it so different from all other teachings. Because we are brought up in a tradition where the conception of deities is there. So once we understand it, इसलिए ब्रह्मजाल सूत्र में हमने कोशिश की थी कि हम समझें उनकी relative position क्या है. Once we understand that, then we can see how the whole pantheon has been created of deities, and all, which is very most likely, which is true, because there is a sutta in which all the majority of these deities of Hindu pantheon, they come and pay respects to the Buddha. If you take all of that as true representation of the teaching, then we can get a satisfactory, quote unquote, satisfactory picture of the whole tradition.
Thank you.
The lifespan देखते हैं, कितना था हाईएस्ट लाइफ स्पैन, और जो फॉर्म रेल में हाईएस्ट लाइफ स्पैन था जो 18,000 eons, 18,000 महाकल्प. It's an unimaginable number. It's almost like infinity. So इस कल्प में जितने भी लोग आएंगे, अगर वो साधना करते हैं और इतनी ऊंचाई पे पहुंचते हैं कि वो उस रेल्म के बीइंग्स को देख सकें, जो जहाँ पे कि अनागामी लोग साधना कर रहे हैं, या जहाँ पे अरहंत हैं जो भी उनका लाइफ स्पैन खत्म नहीं हुआ, we can access them. So there are stories of Ajahn Mun accessing them. Because the life.
इधर एक related question है कि do these realms have a special location somewhere, or are they personal to every conscious being?
According to the Buddha, general cosmology, they have a spatial distribution, but it is on a subtle material level, so you can't see it. They have a spatial distribution. According to that book of Ajahn Purnadhamma, he has given some dimensions and all that. Pretty astronomical figures.
ये जो बुद्धिस्ट कॉस्मोलॉजी है, it has been carved out of what teachings of Buddha?
Partly Aganya Sutta, then from the Mahayana,
there is a sutta, yes,
and then other commentaries and Mahayana version. Mahayana में ज़्यादा उसका description है.
Okay.
तो जो अजान पुण्यधम्म की किताब में भी he is quoted from them.
आपने बताया था कि उन्होंने सुत भी कोट किए हैं कई जगह.
तो है ही है, that we can see. मैंने भी आपको याद हो जब मैंने प्रेजेंटेशन की थी, I had mentioned number of suttas where devas are mentioned. There are thousands of them.
वो तो है, उसमें that is very clear.
And then there is a mention of at some places of realms also. He's in the Tushita Dev Lok, where Buddha goes and teaches his mother. Mother was in another lok, she's called there. So this kind of sundry references, loka, Bhak Burma ka jo sutta hai usme aata hai.
The reason I asked this question is, suppose there is a Buddhist belonging to our culture, our kind of culture. He will imagine these beings and these states in a certain way. And suppose there is a Buddhist with a Western background. What will be his concept of these beings? That's a question that really was.
One thing is imagination, other thing is to develop psychic powers and actually see them.
What will he see? That's the question. What would he?
If they
Yes.
exist, if those realms exist objectively, then we should see the same thing.
Hmm.
At least I know of some monks who mentioned to have seen some of these levels.
Because somehow you feel that this cannot be an absolute thing. It has to be somewhat culturally relevant to whoever is seeing whatever he is seeing. Culturally correlated. I don't know, I'm just guessing.
Because one can always get there's a great possibility of imagination there. But those people who develop psychic powers, they have a direct vision. And people with different people with psychic powers, when they report the same thing, then it becomes some consistency. So I know of, we met some bhikkhus in Thailand who and their teachers and others have consistent reportage of beings of other realms. That's all I can say.
Can we say that Christian mystics who also used to do similar kind of meditation to some extent would have also gone through similar experiences? Perhaps. We can only guess, of course. We can't know for sure.
There's a great possibility.
Yeah.
Let's begin the question, please.
Yes, sir, out of curiosity, जो जैसे आपने कई बार बताया अनमैनिफेस्टेड कॉन्शियसनेस जो अरहंत और बुद्ध को जीवित रखती है once they become बुद्ध and अरहंत. So after परिनिब्बान, that life force, वो क्या प्रकृति में लीन हो जाता है? And since that consciousness,
It's unmanifested. What does it mean? It is only at the time of when they are experiencing Nibbana. Not at the normal life they are experiencing that. It's only at that moment when Vigyan Nirodh ho jata hai, tab aisa kaha jata hai. Otherwise they experience the same sensory consciousness as they experience. And that is a unmanifested consciousness. That name is given like that.
okay.
So it is translated like that. I should translate it like that. No, that's not something which is belonging to somebody or something which is accessible to others. It's not. So what is the nature of that? Whether they belong manifest in that or not, it is not mentioned anywhere in the Sutta. That is, we can't say what exactly is the role of that in terms of the passing away of arahants. There is no such mention. Manifested consciousness word arising 2 sutras. Or in indirect way, 1 more sutra, 3 sutras, which is more like exaltation. So, one of the famous bhikkhus of Sri Lanka, he mentions that when Arhant is experiencing Arhant from Samadhi, विज्ञान निरोध हो जाता है, तो उस समय अगर विज्ञान निरोध हो गया, विज्ञान is not arising, the person is alive. So it is the unmanifested consciousness which keeps the person alive and he remains alert. अच्छा, इससे ज़्यादा कुछ मुझे नहीं मालूम, जो पढ़ा है वही. There is no detailed mention about that unmanifested consciousness in literature. Of course, some people think that it is something like the Brahman of Advaita. Some people think that that's false.
Okay. So we can say that it's just a life force जो उनको जीवित रखता है और उसके बारे में और कोई डिटेल्स मतलब डिटेल में कुछ नहीं है कि क्या है आफ्टर परिनिब्बान क्या होता है.
We can extrapolate. People always have the tendency to answer this question which Buddha didn't answer. That is the point. हम सब लोगों की कौतूहल रहता है कि चलो भगवान ने नहीं आंसर किया तो हम ही कर लेते, फॉर्मुलेट है ओपिनियन। अदर्स आर दैट भाई हमने उन्होंने आंसर किया है, मुझे भी नहीं मालूम, अगर मालूम पड़ेगा तो बता देंगे। So that's the way different people take different positions. I can't say which is right or which is safe is that I don't know. It is safe.
जी सर, थैंक यू सर।
हाँ शर्मा जी कहीं
यस सर। सर मेरे को ये थोड़ा समझना था, जब आदमी के अपने स्वयं विचारों का पपन का होता है, स्वयं के विचारों का पपन का होता है, या जब अनकॉन्शियसनेस और कॉन्शियसनेस में चैटिंग होती है, उस समय फर्स्ट होता होगा या नहीं?
अनकॉन्शियसनेस से
जब अनकॉन्शियसनेस जो आदमी की खुद की है और उसी की कॉन्शियसनेस में चैटिंग होती होगी,
तो इसकी डिटेल हमने डिस्कस की थी अभी धम्मा की क्लासेस में, शायद से आई वोंट बी एबल टू गेट इनटू दैट लेयर। जब आदमी गहरी नींद में सो जाता है तब क्या होता है, देयर इज ए भवंग चित्ता व्हिच ऑपरेट्स, दैट्स ए टू कॉम्प्लेक्स। इसको हम अभी उत्तर दे पाना,
इस ब्रीफ में बता सकते हैं फर्स्ट होता होगा या नहीं होता होगा? जैसे
मतलब अगर कॉन्शियसनेस होगी तो फर्स्ट होगा, लेकिन भवंग में नहीं होता। भवंग इज अ स्टेट व्हेन व्हिच सेंसेस आर नॉट ऑपरेटिंग, व्हेन सेंसिंग इज नॉट ऑपरेटिंग फर्स्ट कैसे होगा? व्हेन द सेंसेस, जब गहरी नींद में है कोई सेंस डोंट ऑपरेट नहीं कर रहा है।
नहीं, मेंटल कॉन्शियसनेस की बात कर रहा हूँ सर मैं। जब
गहरी नींद में मेंटल कॉन्शियसनेस नहीं ऑपरेट नहीं,
नींद में नहीं, मतलब जागृत अवस्था में।
गहरी नींद में नहीं करते अकॉर्डिंग टू अभिधम्मा। गहरी नींद में the another mechanism operates is called bhavanga chitta which operates. That is the teaching.
सर मैं जागृत अवस्था की पूछ रहा हूँ, जैसे मेरी जागृत अवस्था है इस समय, तो इस समय जो अनकॉन्शियसनेस और कॉन्शियसनेस में चैटिंग हो रही होगी इनसाइड,
जब आप जागृत है तो अनकॉन्शियस कहाँ से आ गए?
नहीं, अंदर अनकॉन्शियस तो कुछ ना कुछ विचार ला ही रहा होगा।
ऐसा 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 भगवान की टीचिंग में कोई ऐसा, there are no two streams of consciousness running in the mind according to Buddha's teaching, ऐसा कुछ नहीं। At every moment the consciousness arises and passes away, arises and passes away, and all the information is there available. Some is latent, some is dormant, some is very strong, but it is always there in this under impressions. ऐसा नहीं है कहीं और पड़ी है और फिर वो आएगी निकल के। ऐसा विचार है कि कुछ ट्रेडिशन में ये भी कहा जाता है एक आलय विज्ञान है और उसमें अलग स्टोर में है वो कॉन्शियसनेस, बट इन दी टीचिंग्स ऑफ द अर्ली बुद्धिज्म देयर इज नो सच कॉन्सेप्ट।
नया साइंटिफिक है सबकॉन्शियसली चल रहा है उसमें।
Yeah, but that subconscious is not seen to be something separate. It is something which is not accessible. It's not.
But वो एक साइंस ऐसे प्रोजेक्ट करता है कि
It's not as if there are two consciousnesses in there.
मेरा मतलब सबकॉन्शियस से था, जब सबकॉन्शियस से कोई चीज आती है माइंड में आगे, तो उस समय फर्स्ट होता होगा नहीं होता होगा, दैट्स व्हाई
मैं जैसे निवेदन कर रहा हूँ, first is always with sense doors. Period. And there is nothing like subconsciousness in the sense of being independent of the present moment consciousness. जब मैं conscious हूँ तो वही ऑपरेट कर रहा है, जब मैं अनकॉन्शियस सोया हुआ हूँ गहरी नींद में तो फिर वो भगवान से ऑपरेट करता है। दिस इज द टीचिंग व्हिच इज अवेलेबल इन अभिधम्मा। उत्तम में इसके बारे में कोई बात ही नहीं है। Okay, thank you.